How's it going, everyone? My name is frontier.setter, and this is the Epic by Carbon Tactics. So this is advertised as their EDC belt, but I consider it a gun belt because technically any belt that you wear that you carry a gun on can be a gun belt. Obviously, the selling point of this belt is the nice little single trigger design. As you can see, it just looks like my AR trigger. Actually, any trigger for that matter. It is made out of basically 3 pieces of aluminum. The female end of the buckle, the male end of the buckle, and also the small trigger mechanism here. And I would consider it a very minimalistic, low-profile design. Definitely gives off that tactical aesthetic, and I do like it because it's kind of asymmetrical. Not kind of, it is asymmetrical. Look at it. Just look at it. Now, as some of you may know, I do carry appendix inside the waistband. That's just how I've always carried my guns. And this buckle does work really well with both of these designs. Even with holsters that might be kind of bigger, like this one right here, it does still conform to the body quite well. And besides the trigger, one of the main selling points of this belt is actually how easy it is to put on and take off. I will get to that in a moment here. The buckle does have some give. It does bend, and that is by design. This is just to kind of have it conform to your body just a little bit more, gives a little bit more give and play. That way when you're moving around and being all tactical and shit, and I think this is the most comfortable simply because of how the nylon wraps around itself just like this. It stays nice and flush to the body. You do not need a belt keeper for this belt. I freaking hate using belt keepers. I feel like I always lose them each time I change belts or change pants. That thing just goes flying off out of nowhere, and I feel like they just kind of lose their place in the belt and the belt just flies around anyways. This design, the inner belt sits inside the outside belt, obviously. Now, the finish could be a little better. The black anodizing is fine. I mean, anodized aluminum is, pretty standard nowadays, but there is a little bit of a blemish, as you can see, where they put the pin through to hold the trigger in. I think they use like a punch to kind of punch the pin in, and you can tell like the size of a punch there. It's not a really big deal, but I thought I'd bring it up. It's a belt, you're gonna wear it, and it's gonna get scuffed up anyways. Construction is nice. It feels like a solid belt. I mean, it's such a simple design that you really can't muck it up so bad. The buckle itself is milled out of a couple pieces of aluminum. They feel really solid. The mechanism has a really positive click once you have it seated. It sounds like you're seating a mag or something. Just kind of clicks and doesn't go anywhere. I can pull pretty hard and the mechanism kind of stays, and it doesn't really want to go anywhere until you depress that trigger. I suppose only time will tell how long this mechanism can last for, but right now it does feel very solid. There is a little spring inside which activates the trigger. Obviously, springs can give out over time. I don't know how easy it is to replace that spring, but I'm sure that if you hit up their customer support, they would be able to help you out. And as I said before, the play in the buckle is by design. They gave it some pretty loose tolerances. So they offer a lot of different options for colors and combinations and stuff like that. I did opt for the single layer, but you can also get this in a dual layer nylon. You can change the color of the belt and the trigger, which is pretty cool. I just went black on black on black because I'm still stuck in the 90s and I really like black gear, and I think it goes well with pretty much everything. Now, I did buy another belt from them in the past. This belt is called the Quickie. Not a name that I would have picked myself, but it is what it is. And I've had their Quickie belt for about 2 years now. This one works by magnet, so you pretty much just push the belt together and you twist, and it disengages from the 2 halves here. But one of the downsides of this belt is, as I mentioned before, there is a belt keeper here, and I feel like this slides the fuck around all the time, especially when you're changing the belt. And one of the biggest drawbacks, just like with a lot of these kinds of belts, is that the buckle itself is pretty big, so it's hard to, well actually it's pretty much impossible to fit through normal sized belt loops. You have to take this whole thing off, take this off, and string it through like that. And that's, in my opinion, a huge pain in the ass. And this goes along with a lot of the Raptor style belts too. Those buckles are pretty big, and you have to take the whole thing apart just to put in a pair of pants. So, obviously, I still have to put this through its paces. I've only had this for a couple days now, but I've been wearing it and I do like it so far. As I said, it is a lot more comfortable than other belts that I have used, but only time will tell on how this mechanism holds up under stress and stuff like that, longevity-wise. And obviously, I don't really do soft, good reviews that often, if ever. Most of my reviews are based on like guns and stuff like that. But if you do want to see more of this kind of content, let me know. Now, I think I demonstrated this in other videos, but I do have this D3 style chest rig. This is a special chest rig because it is printed on an Ahegao pattern for the anime memes. You know, that kind of shit. And this is made by VAJRA Tactical Concepts. I also do have a Haley Strategic D3CR micro chest rig, and I bought that to be set up to use my MP5 with, so I can be like an operator of sorts in that category. Sorry, this is kind of a short review here, but I hope you liked what you saw. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with friends or whatever. And yeah, always remember, stay tactically kawaii.